Mark, we thank you so much. A top 25 high leverage matchup in week 3 of the college football season. Boise State and Oklahoma State squaring off today. And Brett Rypien with an incompletion to bring up 3rd down and 4 on the opening series of the game. One of 3 top 25 matchups today: LSU, Auburn, TCU, and Ohio State. Both of these teams have put up video game numbers in their first 2 games. We'll see Taylor Cornelius making his 3rd career start today at quarterback for Oklahoma State, going up against Bryan Harsin's veteran Brett Rypien, who faces his 2nd 3rd down of the day. Adam Amin, Rod Gilmore, Quint Kesnick, glad you're with us for this top 25 contest from Stillwater. Rypien to the flat, incomplete for Robert Mahone. Underthrown ball, and Boise State will have to punt. Brett Rypien in his 39th career start. This is going to be a tough atmosphere in which to play as these 2 programs meet for the first time, and it happens to be a top 25 matchup. Dylan Stoner back to return a Quinn Skillen punt. Fair catch at the 27-yard line. We're 2 minutes in. And with that, Boise State, Oklahoma State, they set this matchup up in 2013, and both schools, both fan bases have been waiting for it, and it's a high leverage game today.
You know how you get that coach speak from the coaches? Not a big game. Bryan Harsin of Boise State did not even pretend.
No.
He said, this is a big game. It's important. And he said, this is the kind of game that Boise State was built on. And so he told his players, embrace it and seize the opportunity like teams of the past have.
Taylor Cornelius starts from the 28-yard line, and it's Justice Hill, the excellent running back, for a yard. Let's go down to Q.
Big news for Boise's defense. Tyler Horton, their best cornerback and one of the best in the conference, did not make the trip. He's out with a leg injury. They'll miss him on the outside. They'll also miss his leadership. Jalen Walker, 15 in white, makes the start.
This will be the 2nd career start for Jalen Walker. He started the Las Vegas Bowl against Oregon. 3rd down and 9 for Taylor Cornelius. Blitz from the Broncos. Cornelius launches, and it's incomplete. Looking for Tyron Johnson. What a juxtaposition of quarterbacks we have in this game.
Yeah, someone who has played an awful lot versus someone who is getting reacquainted with the notion of being a starting quarterback. We'll talk more about that, but you know, let's not forget, this is a big game for Oklahoma State.
Very.
You look at their schedule. A win today really sets them up for a great start and gives them confidence in the race in the Big 12. They could get to 7-0, 8-0, maybe even 9-0 with a win here today.
Before they have to play Oklahoma in November. Matt Hockett with a shanked punt, and Boise State will have excellent field position to start its 2nd series. Zach Seiner still not healthy. It's Hockett out there punting away. And a top 25 matchup in Stillwater. Boise State going into a very difficult environment here at Boone Pickens Stadium in a high leverage top 25 contest. After a 22-yard punt, excellent field position for Brett Rypien. We'll give to Alexander Madison, grabbed by Calvin Bundage. Boise State Q trying to be the Dragon Slayer again today.
And to do that, you've got to go into the Dragon's lair. Let me tell you, it is hot, relentlessly noisy, and super claustrophobic here. Tight quarters where these fans are basically feet away from the Broncos, hovering over them, breathing on them, letting them know how they're doing. Tough environment, Adam.
The paddle people are ready to go today. Rypien able to find Chase Blakely at the 46-yard line. Justin Phillips was there. It'll set up 3rd down for Brett Rypien. in his 39th career start, the active passing leader in college football.
Well, he said he came to Boise State to play in a New Year's Six game. People forget, Boise played in one in 2014. Haven't been back since then. But he said this is his senior year. That is his goal.
And a win today would propel them into the driver's seat as the clear-cut, top-ranked Group of 5 team. Rypien to the sticks, and it is caught for a first down by John Hightower, the junior college transfer who's made a nice impact early.
You know, you see the poise, the composure. It's helped by great protection for Rypien here. Plenty of time for that crossing route to develop. You know, here's a guy who, coming out of high school, had to decide between going to Washington State and the shadow of his uncle, or to Boise State and the shadow of Kellen Moore.
Yeah. Backwards pass. This could be a double pass. Hightower gonna switch fields all the way to the near side and somehow turn it into a gain. There is a penalty marker thrown on the play. When we said this guy can fly, we were not kidding.
Well, when you get Boise State, you get trickeration.
What if you had less than 5 minutes and you're over under when Zach Hill and Brian Harsin were going to pull a rabbit out of the hat? You were right. Mountain West crew today, led by Scott Campbell.
Illegal block in the back. Number 79. Offense. That penalty enforced 10 yards from the end of the run. Still first down.
Eric Cavedo, the West Covina, California native.
You know, they sort of set this up with all the quick throws, and you see it was actually a backwards pass and a good decision by Hightower not to try and throw. He didn't have time. And you know, Adam, as much as we get the shifts, the motion, the trickeration, this is a punch you in the mouth offense. Boise State wants to run the ball right at you, be physical. They have a history of running backs and a history of linemen that is what they do. And Madison is that kind of guy. Now, they are 1st and 25, a little different for them, but that's their DNA. They want to be physical.
Let's see what the officials are trying to discuss here. Trying to clarify something, perhaps. Maybe the yardage. It's a spot foul. That's why it says 1st and 18. It's a spot foul when it's a block in the back. It's from the end of the run, so they pushed it back 10 yards.
Whoop.
Was the penalty decline?
Maybe not.
Because they've moved the ball back to where Hightower ran it.
There's no foul for illegal block in the back. The result of the play is going to be 2nd down and 8.
Okay, so they pulled the flag. That's why they spotted the ball back at the 38-yard line, saying it's to the end of the run. So as simple as that, they picked up the flag. No penalty on Cavedo. So 2nd down and 8. They ride it with Khalil Shakir. This is a player to note in Boise State's offense, especially with all the trickeration.
He is a freshman with great speed, great quickness. They'll use him in the backfield. They'll use him as a wide receiver also, as there is another flag down.
Holding, number 79, offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Still 2nd down.
Now Eric Cavedo will get the penalty on him, so that'll be a 10-yard penalty against Boise. Ball back at the 45.
You know, this Oklahoma State defense is very fast. I was a little bit surprised to see Boise State attack the edge. They can run. On defense, these guys can run. They're built to run. They're built to play the pass in the Big 12. Not as much built for smash mouth football.
Rypien hit as he throws, but he's got his man in C.T. Thomas. Brock Martin bringing some heat for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, when you go to an empty formation, you can't hang on to the football. You have to know the pressure is coming. He got rid of it quickly enough. Manageable, or at least appears to be a manageable 3rd down or 2 down territory for the Broncos.
Rypien underneath, has his tight end and John Bates. Needed the 30-yard line and is short. 4th down coming up. And again, interesting territory right now for Boise State. And you said it, Rod. The offense might stay out there. They're staying out there right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that 3rd down play put them in position to have this 4th down play.
Play clock down to 2. And an official coming from the far side whistling the play dead. Timeout, Boise State. We'll step aside. Big 4th down decision coming up. Welcome to ESPN College Football presented by PlayStation 4. We're in Stillwater, Oklahoma for our Dr. Pepper Championship Drive game of the week. Boone Pickens Stadium, 4th down coming up for Boise State on its 2nd offensive series. They were the worst 4th down team in the country a year ago, 3 for 17. They're going to go for it on 4th and 3.
Well, before that last play was stopped, it looked like a pass play. And with this empty formation, you're thinking again, quick route. Rypien has been good about getting rid of the ball quickly.
Rypien fires. 1st down, Chase Blakely inside the 30. The veteran tight end moves the chains.
You know, Adam, if you've followed Rypien's career, you know that he got his start as a freshman when Ryan Finley broke his ankle. And after Finley broke his ankle, Rypien kept the job. Finley ended up transferring to North Carolina State, where he's become a 1st-round prospect.
Todd McShay, you said, had him as the #1 quarterback prospect in his upcoming draft list. Madison into Brailford for a short game.
That is a rare case where it works out for both quarterbacks. You know, the opportunity to leave and get a chance to play as Finley got, and that's worked out at North Carolina State. And you have Rypien here, who definitely is an NFL prospect, and this year has upped his game, upped his work habits, upped his studying for that purpose.
Rypien over the middle. He is 6 for 6 on this drive. John Bates.
Yeah, pressure isn't getting to him. Oklahoma State playing a lot of zone. They're typically a man-covered team, but a lot of zone, not much of a pass rush, and Rypien has all day to survey the field and pick what he wants. A little change of character for Oklahoma State here with the soft zone coverage that we've seen this entire first drive.
Madison on the ground. Wrapped up quickly by Malcolm Rodriguez, the safety. Gain of a yard on the play. New defensive coordinator this season for Oklahoma State. They bring in Jim Knowles from Duke, who did a really nice job at readjusting that defense for David Cutcliffe. An aggressive 4-2-5 look this year for Oak State.
Yeah, and he's mixed it up a little bit today. You know, they've been really aggressive, particularly with their man coverage the last couple of weeks, but a little bit more zone so far this day, and Rypien has taken advantage of it.
12th play of the drive is a Madison run. Calvin Bundage was there to close out the stop.
That was a well-timed blitz, by Bundage. He comes around the edge right inside, unaccounted for, able to really disrupt that play. And look for more now. You've got a third down play here. You mentioned aggressiveness. Expect more aggressive play right now on this third down from Oklahoma State.
Here comes heat. Rypien throwing a fade for no one in particular. Closest man was A.J. Richardson. And Jim Knowles heating it up. Some people have gone as far as to refer to him as Sir Blitz-a-lot. He brought the heat on third down there.
Yeah, well, his guys on the back end did a great job. They laid off. They stood around the goal line, and they did not jump up in front of the receivers. So by the time that the receivers got to them, there was already pressure on Rypien. They did a terrific job on the back end.
26-yarder for Hayden Hogarth. Oh, the snap was on the dirt, and it's off the upright. That was a very low snap, and Quinn Skillen desperately tried to save it. Hogarth could not connect. Nikolai Pittman the bad snap, and Skillen bangs it off the upright. We're still scoreless. Mike Gundy's offense coming up.
ESPN College Football is presented by PlayStation 4, the best place to play, and in part by the Lexus RX, featuring pre-collision system with pedestrian detection standard.
Boise State's defense back out there as Taylor Cornelius finds Dylan Stoner to start this Oklahoma State drive. Stoner lost his helmet, so he'll have to come off for a play. The turnover thrown, packed up from Boise all the way down to Stillwater. These are two teams that have lived off takeaways over the last decade. Cornelius taking a deep shot, incomplete, looking for Tylan Wallace. Taylor Cornelius, tomorrow will be his 23rd birthday. Today is his third career start. All of them have come in the last 3 weeks. Prior to that, his last start, November 29th, 2013, when he quarterbacked Bushland High School against Wall High School in a playoff loss in Texas. 3rd and 1. And Justice Hill got the fake. Boise State bit, and Cornelius lumbers for the first down.
Yeah, and he's not the most mobile quarterback, but he runs better than you would expect for a guy who's 6'6". And when he was in high school, he was 6'6" and 170 pounds, wasn't highly recruited, walked on here, eventually got a scholarship and sat behind Mason Rudolph all this time.
Off to Justice Hill. Makes his way to the 36-yard line. 3 years as a backup to Rudolph, as you mentioned, Rod, after he redshirted in 2014. This is only his 10th career game.
Yeah.
But he's already put together 2 really solid starts, but he has not faced a defense like Boise State.
Hasn't played in the big game yet. I mean, this is the biggest game he's had in his collegiate career. The last couple weeks, blowouts, not serious. This is a really tough opponent.
Cornelius wrapped up by Jabril Frazier. A dynamite season as an edge rusher last year.
Yeah, he's on the left side. Frazier comes in, had a tremendous year last season. He's the best pass rusher at Boise State, and that ball has to come out. I mean, that's just inexperience. When you have a short drop like that, that ball has to come out. You can't hold it that long.
Five-man rush from Boise. Cornelius incomplete for Johnson, but a penalty marker back where the pass was thrown.
Can't say that I'm surprised at the start for Cornelius.
Holding, number 5, offense. That penalty is declined. Results of the play, fourth down.
Justice Hill holding back there. Remember, Mike Gundy told us that the very first start he had, week 1, he was aiming the football.
Yeah.
Wasn't relaxed, wasn't comfortable, wasn't loose, and he kept telling him, it's just like practice. Just relax and throw it.
You need to cut it loose. If you make a mistake, you make a mistake.
Yep.
Matt Hockett had a 22-yard shank on his first punt. Much better on this one. Khalil Shakir from the 19. And Shakir out of bounds across the 35. First time today back in the studio, my man Adnan Furk.
My man Adam Amin, great to hear you on E1 with us. We got an update on BYU, Wisconsin. It's always Jonathan Taylor, right? No, Adam, it's my favorite college football player, Squally Canada from 3 yards out. It's 7-all right now. It's over on ABC. Adam.
Hip-hop legend Squally Canada, of course, the SoundCloud rapper himself. We'll be checking in with some big games all day, especially in this time slot. We've got one of the best of the day.
You know, when you throw Jesse Palmer in there, you've got a real Canadian studio.
Oh, Canada.
Yeah.
And the 35-yard line is where Brett Rypien takes over. Good protection from Madison. He finds Hightower on a good game. Q.
Boise operating slowly in the face of this Cowboy up-tempo offense as if to slow the game down. You're seeing substitutions after almost every single play. They'll throw a lot of formations at you. You'll see about 20 different formations, more than 30 personnel groups. It can test a defense in recognition with a lot of pre-snap movement, motions, exchanges. There's a lot going on with this offense.
Q, all that makes you think, and that's not good for a defensive player.
Not much room for Madison. Good penetration from Oklahoma State's defense. Kenneth Edison McGruber.
When you have to identify a personnel group, when you have to deal with the shift on the defensive end, you are thinking and adjusting as opposed to just reacting and playing. You want to know your assignment and just be free and not have to think about all this stuff, and you're being slowed down. Now, the thing I'm noticing here is that you look at these two corners, they've been playing off, and as they have played off, Boise State has taken advantage. Now they're up close. I don't mind a little bump and grind.
I don't see nothing wrong with it. Rypien finds Bates, and Bates working his way past the 45-yard line for the first down.
Now that's more of Oklahoma State's style defensively, to get the corners in the face of the receivers and not give so much air to Rypien. But Q didn't hurt him right there.
Well, man beaters. If Boise's faced with that press man coverage on the outside, look for slants, rubs, crossers, or wheel routes. Hand fighting is going to be key for their wide receivers.
Yeah, Rod's already talked about the crossing routes today. We've seen them from Boise. Mahone gets swallowed up. Calvin Bundage racing up, along with the big boy Cam Murray.
Oh, you got to love that. He's a linebacker, but he's really a safety. He's only about 210, 215 pounds. He comes knifing in and blows that up. I mean, any angle you take this, the quickness and the speed, there was an attempt by Bates to block him, but Bates just couldn't keep up with him.
Rypien on the crossing route again. C.T. Thomas has enough for the first down to the 42 of Oklahoma State.
Yeah, these are too easy for Boise State right now. Oklahoma State has to be thinking about mixing it up, because we've seen this 2 consecutive series now.
Yeah.
Wide open over the middle, crossing routes, little out routes. As they give them air, they give those receivers air, Rypien is completely taken advantage of.
He's completed 9 of his last 10 passes. Just a 3-man rush. So underneath, another tight end grab. Chase Blakely will take us to the end of the first quarter. These are two of the highest scoring teams over the last decade in college football. Of course we would be scoreless through one. Top 25 in Stillwater. Come on back. September 29th, 1973. The last time Ohio State and TCU squared off. They'll do it from AT&T Stadium tonight, 8 Eastern on ABC and the ESPN app. Saturday Night Football with Chris Kirk and Maria.
How about the way Haskins has been playing for Ohio State? That's the way that Rypien would like to play today. He has not thrown the ball deep down the field yet. He's really been a master of the short pass.
And second and medium here. Whip into the sideline, and it is ruled a catch. Excellent extension by Sean Modster for the first down to the 31.
Yeah, make sure his foot is in bounds. You see that left foot. He had control over it. It's a good catch.
This is a guy who had some drop issues last year. Excellent job to secure and get the foot down. He's really come on in this last 7 or 8 games. Heat coming from Oklahoma State. One-on-one downfield. Diving attempt by Hightower. Touchdown, Boise State. Quickly becoming a Rypien favorite.
Yeah. Hightower with great speed. The JC transfer beats the best corner for Oklahoma State, A.J. Green. And the key to that, great protection and giving your receiver a chance to make the play. Rypien put this ball up and allowed Hightower to run underneath it. But it all goes back to protection. Oklahoma State brought pressure. Boise State picked it up. And Hightower with a beautiful diving catch.
Hogarth for the extra point. First year at Boise State after 2 years at Hines Community College in Mississippi. John Hightower becoming a downfield threat for Boise.
All those short passes, setting things up, and when you go man-to-man coverage, you better be able to run with Hightower or this happens.
Already 3 touchdowns in 3 games for John Hightower.
Yeah, and this is the blitz. Oklahoma State brings 6, and the key to this whole play is protection. Boise State picks it up. They keep a back end to help out with protection. Rypien has plenty of time. All 6 rushers are picked up. You get the single coverage. You give your receiver a chance. It's 6.
Joel Velasquez kicks away for Boise State. Let's go back to Adnan Burke in the studio.
All right, Adam, thank you very much. It's the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive studio update. Vanderbilt's taking on Notre Dame. Kyle Shermer. Vandal Haney looking good, right? Oh, no. Ball wrestled away, and so Notre Dame's corner Julian Love with a touchback. Anchor down, more like anchor frown. It's all Fighting Irish right now. Adam, back to you.
Thanks very much, AV. We'll see how Brandon Wimbush and that Irish offense do today after a couple of slow starts. Taylor Cornelius from the 25 for Oklahoma State trying to respond. Justice Hill. A nice first down run of 5.
So they have to get Cornelius comfortable. And he's 1 of 5, and he said this is only his 3rd start.
Under pressure. Good job by Cornelius to get away from it.
Cornelius right now being faced with a new scenario here, trailing at home, only his 3rd start of his career. I think the Cowboys' best offensive player, though, is Justice Hill. And he has got to have an impact in this game. 15 to 20 touches, whether it's the run game or the short passing game 5 in orange has got to be heard from.
Just 9 carries a week ago against South Alabama.
He is an excellent receiver out of the backfield.
Riding that read, and Cornelius with the keep and the first down. Slipped the tackle of Jalen Walker, the backup corner who's getting the start today.
Look, and I think Boise State will say, if they want to run zone read and have Cornelius carry the ball 10, 15 times, they're okay with that.
This time he'll dump it off for J.D. King. And King slipping tackles, gets close to the sticks near midfield.
What Oklahoma State needs out of Cornelius is to complete the short passes he needs to and to distribute the ball, to give guys like King a chance to make a play.
Now he's going to take a shot downfield, and he's got Tylan Wallace. First and goal, Oklahoma State on the first big play of the day for 43.
How about the play call? And your quarterback is struggling. He hasn't completed too many passes, yet you give him a chance to just sort of air it out. And he finds Wallace. Wallace runs underneath it. He gave him a chance to make the catch, and he did.
He had 39 yards passing before that strike for 43. To the edge, Hill. To the end zone, Justice Hill. Got past DeAndre Pierce and muscled home.
Speed and quickness, but watch the ability to run through tackles. A good back has to make that guy miss one-on-one, and he made Pierce miss. Nothing but orange end zone in front of him, and Justice Hill telling everybody, all rise.
You were sitting on that one for a while, big man. I know it. Mike Gundy's offense responds. 7 up in Stillwater. Justice Hill going home.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Mazda. Feel alive. And Straight Talk Wireless. Everything for less.
30-year anniversary of one of the greatest that ever did it. Barry Sanders, his Heisman Trophy in 1988. Justice Hill's dad, Derek, went to Oklahoma State as well. He was in the same Bible study group as Barry Sanders. Justice actually wanted Barry's number 21 originally, but of course, no one's touching that number 21. That's a retired number.
You know, he's got a little Barry Sanders in him. You saw that quickness and that ability to get to the edge and that speed, but nobody's Barry Sanders.
And nobody broke tackles like Barry Sanders either. Trust me, I'm a Bears fan. I grew up watching him annihilate every defense I watched on TV growing up. Alexander Madison with an opportunity. Shy of the 25. Let's go back to AV in the studio.
All right, Adam, an update once again, this time on BYU and Wisconsin. So we go the screen pass, Mangum to Aliva Hifo to Moroni Laulu Hatutau. 14-7. Say that 3 times fast. Game's on ABC, Adam.
We had to do it week 1, and I give you all the credit in the world for it. Well done, sir. And here come the paddle people again as the Boise State offense comes out. That noise. This is my first trip to Stillwater. That noise of the paddle people. It's a very anticipatory noise. Andrew Van Buren getting the carry. There's Bundage again with a tackle for loss.
Adam, I want to take you back to that last drive because we saw the confidence grow in Cornelius, and it was all set up with this great pass out to Wallace. And that followed or set up the run by Justice Hill. So the confidence in the quarterback, the inexperienced quarterback, we got that on that last drive. We'll watch him his next series out and see what happens. But now he looks like he's ready to rock and roll.
Rypien lost the football. That ball was loose inside the 15 as Jordan Brailford absolutely barreled through Brett Rypien. It'll stay with Boise State, recovered by John Molchon, the left guard.
Yeah, nothing fancy here. This is just a win on the outside. Pass rush said, you've got Brailford, and we've seen him get in there a couple times, and he's just great. He beats Preciado one-on-one. I mean, just speed and quickness, and you can see that ball comes out. Arm was not going forward.
Preciado is the only new starter. They returned 4 out of 5, but that right tackle from our film study, Rod, I thought he's been vulnerable off the edge.
Well, I think Brailford would agree with you. And he took him to school on that pass rush.
Timeout. Boise State, second of the half. Timeout on the field.
Timeout. We'll step aside. Stream college football all year long on ESPN Plus. Get your free trial today by downloading the ESPN app or visiting ESPNplus.com. Dr. Pepper championship drive, game of the week in Stillwater. 3rd and long coming up for Boise State. Deep in their own territory. And they'll keep it on the ground with Madison. Calvin Bundage closes out the drive. 5 tackles already.
You see how that series, we saw Oklahoma State change its philosophy. Actually, the last 2. I mean, the opening series, they were very soft. They were playing zone coverage, not pressuring. Last 2 series, they've opened it up. They've run some stunts, they've run some blitzes, they've played some man coverage, and they've just disrupted the timing for Rypien.
All a hallmark of what you expect from a Jim Knowles defense.
Yep, exactly.
Quinn Skillen will punt away to Dylan Stoner. Pressure, and it's blocked! Amen Ogbongbemiga, along with Jarrell Bernard.
Hey, Quint, before the game, we were timing the punter. And Boise State's punters were consistently getting the ball off slow, over 2 seconds. This doesn't surprise you, does it?
No, Skillen in particular. He's long, he's lanky. The standard is 2 seconds from snap to kick. And with his long mechanics, Oklahoma State just snuffs that out. I mean, they took that right off his foot.
Yeah, and as we were timing, the Oklahoma State coaches were timing as well. So we're not surprised that they went after this.
First and goal for Oklahoma State. Cornelius close to the goal line, down to the 1.
Mike Gundy is running him to give him more confidence, get him settled. He seems to like it. He likes the contact.
And now they're bringing in the big boys, the Cowboy backs. The fullback tight end hybrids are out there. Britton Abbott, Sione Fine Feyuiaki.
Over there, you got a 6'7" tight end.
Hill. Good penetration. Will Hefner. And now 3rd down and goal.
Well, you bring in Woods, number 89, 6'7", 250. You bring in Carter, 6'4", 245. Well, your quarterback, 6'6", has been running well.
Cornelius gives Oklahoma State the lead. Career rushing touchdown for Taylor Cornelius. And this one a big one. Taking advantage of the special teams magic. The Cowboys, one of the best kick blocking teams in all of college football. 22 since 2013. Amen Ogbongbemiga, the Calgary, Alberta native with the block, and Taylor Cornelius. Rod called it. Big boys running well. This season, Taco Bell is celebrating student sections and passionate fans like these by awarding the best student section of the year. The Oklahoma State student section, the paddle people, they're already on the national watch list. You can go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell to see how your school can compete. Excellent atmosphere at Boone Pickens Stadium. Top 25 matchup, first meeting all time, major implications for the end of the season in this game. Let's check in with Adnan Burke in the studio. AV.
All right, Adam Amin, it's time for the PlayStation Vue multi-view with these 3 live games. So over on ESPN2, Virginia has a 7-0 lead against Ohio. And on ABC, BYU right now is leading Wisconsin 14-7, and they're inside the 5. So they could be scoring again here. That game is over on ABC. And our game, of course, Adam, is on ESPN.
Thanks, AV. The Virginia team rocketed Boise State last year. Brett Rypien did not have a very good game against Virginia. That was all part of a 2-2 start for Rypien and Brian Harsin and this Boise State team. Since then, 11 of the last 12 have been wins for Boise State. Rypien on first down, back to the tight ends. Chase Blakely with a good game.
The problem for Boise State right now, they have no rushing attack. 13 carries for 19 yards. That puts a lot more pressure on Rypien. They want to pound teams, and then they want to throw the ball. But Madison has not been a factor so far in this ball game for them.
Off the play fake, back to a tight end. John Bates with a big catch and run. Just had his first career touchdown last week.
Yeah, he just fakes a little block on the right side, and then you'll see him just kind of head on out to the flat there. Easily done. Again, they're using tight end, short passing attack, no rushing attack yet for Boise State.
And now they've emptied it out here. Nothing there for Rypien. So he'll take off. And he scrambles for 8 yards.
Are you surprised at Boise State's inability to run the football?
I am. Although we knew that this game would have a lot to do with what happens in the trenches. Both coaches, both coaching staffs talked about it. Whoever can win up front is going to have a good shot to win this game. Rypien off target, looking for monster. Good coverage out there by Jarrett Bernard.
Yeah, we're seeing Oklahoma State dial up the pressure at key moments. That second down, and maybe this third down. Remember, they seem to be gaining confidence in their pressure packages, although they did give up in one-on-one coverage a long touchdown pass to John Hightower.
Pocket collapsing on Rypien, and Brailford wraps him up.
Yeah, good pressure and confusion. Boise State always thinking about number 1 out there, Bundage, but Bundage didn't come this time. It was a little bit of a surprise to them. Bundage dropped off into coverage, and the pressure came from the other side. They did not handle it well. That is the 4th tackle for loss for Oklahoma State.
Again, this part of the field, they're not going to lean on Hayden Hogarth, who already missed a 26-yarder today. 4th down and 6 for Boise State. More pressure on Rypien. Finds Madison. And he will not make it. Justin Phillips made the first down saving tackle.
All right, Adam, thank you very much. North Texas taking on Arkansas. This is your video of the day. So Blake Johnson, he faked the fair catch. He goes, yeah, gotcha. And there he goes all the way to the house. Seriously, the special teams play of the day, that's acting worthy that we talk about on Cinephile. 17-0 on the SEC Network. Adam.
I love when AV is excited about special teams. Special teams a factor today. It's been a factor in this game. And Oklahoma State's got the ball back on a turnover on downs. And a penalty marker thrown. Looked like some movement off the right side.
Number 73, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Tevin Jenkins on the false start.
How about the increased confidence in Cornelius? I mean, he's really come along the last couple of series. And you see that first quarter, they had nothing going. The second quarter, it's been all good.
Trying to open things up for Justice Hill. David Moa is there for the stop. Moa did not play in the first 2 games due to injury, and that is a big get for Boise State.
Yeah, he's got great quickness, and they call him the Moa Constrictor.
That's his Twitter handle because he hates snakes. So he went with Moa Constrictor. Good penetration again. This time, Kekaula Kaniho, their nickel back.
Wait,
with the stop.
what? You hate snakes, but then you make your Twitter handle?
Yeah, I think he's owning it. David Moa was owning it. I got to appreciate that about him. The veteran defensive tackle. Now he's going to come off the field. The rush package on 3rd and 12 is coming in.
This is their cheetah package. This is their speed pass rush package trying to get to the quarterback.
Cornelius launches for Wallace. Johnson, rather. What a catch by Tylan Johnson.
What a job by Cornelius to give his receiver a chance to get that ball out. You've got Johnson working against Walker, who is in for Horton in this ball game. And what a catch.
35 yards there. Incomplete, going right back to Johnson with Walker defending.
Yeah, and that's a matchup that I think Oklahoma State was slow to recognize, that you've got a second string corner in playing for Horton, who was their best corner.
Right.
Walker had 1 start prior to this ball game, and you're talking about Johnson, the transfer from LSU, with great speed and a great vertical jump.
There's that matchup again. Cornelius on the run. He's got Larry Williams blocking for him. And how about Taylor Cornelius with the first down to the 24-yard line?
What a surprise. I mean, he's become the running game for Oklahoma State. Quarterback draw. They've gone from simply trying to get him to throw passes to designed runs for him. Zone read and quarterback draw.
Cornelius to the end zone. And it's incomplete. That time looking for Wallace. Avery Williams, their Mountain West Conference second teamer, in coverage. You have to appreciate Mike Gundy's willingness to adjust.
Yeah.
That's something we saw with Mason Rudolph. You didn't really have to. He was the quarterback for 3 years, a starter for 3 straight seasons. Now he's got to make some adjustments with a new QB.
Well, he kept telling us yesterday that he really believed that his quarterback ran better than people gave him credit for.
Another designed run here for Cornelius. All the way inside the 15 of Boise State. 6'6", 230 pounds getting it done.
This is his adjustment. They've not been able to get enough out of the rushing attack, handing the ball to Justice Hill. So he's changed it up and gone to quarterback runs, which is bizarre when you think about Oklahoma State offense.
The receivers, the running game.
They've had the air raid system here for so long. You just don't get much quarterback run.
This is a handoff to J.D. King.
So when you go to the quarterback run game, you give yourself an extra blocker to balance things up. So when the turnaround and hand it off to the running back isn't working, Gundy is thinking, well, if I let my quarterback run, I'll get one more blocker. We'll see what happens with that. And it's worked out just perfectly for him so far in this first half.
And Rod, it's not on tape from their games against Missouri State or South Alabama. So this is new territory for Andy Avalos and this Boise defense.
Correct.
Cornelius keeps. And Taylor Cornelius right near the sticks.
So you know what happens when you get to halftime? You put up on the board the plays defensively that are hurting you the most. Boise State never expected it would be quarterback run, quarterback run.
Third down and short. Cornelius on the handoff to Chuba Hubbard. Great penetration by David Moa there. And that brings up fourth down.
Decision time.
Looks like the field goal unit is going to come out for Oklahoma State. They'll try to go up 2 scores. Matt Amendola, 3 for 3 thus far. The Philadelphia native, who's been rock solid since a rocky start last season. "15 in a row since last October, and Oklahoma State is up 10.
I'm Adnan Burke. Coming up on the Lexus Halftime Report, Jesse Palmer and Joey Galloway will join me as the Tigers tangle on the Plains. An update on what's happening with LSU and Auburn, a letdown in Lincoln for Nebraska. Plus, is Wisconsin upset alert? We'll explain what's going down at the half. Adam, back to you.
Thanks so much, AB. Time for Wendy's fresh look at the Big 12, giving fans more on the hottest topic today. This might be the most important non-conference week for the Big 12. That's all today.
Yeah, we talked about the Pac-12 in week 1. The spotlight's on the Big 12, week 3 here today.
There's John Hightower, the speedster, shut down shy of the 20-yard line. Extra Yard for Teachers Week is a week-long celebration of teachers led by the College Football Playoff Foundation through its Extra Yard for Teachers platform. Visit the College Football Playoff Foundation website at cfp-foundation.org to learn more about Extra Yard for Teachers Week and see how you can get involved. That's DeAndre Pierce, a student in Whitney Hanson's personal finance class at Boise State. It's a really important course teaching college kids how to handle skills like planning budgets and managing personal finances. DeAndre Pierce, starting safety for Boise State. There's Madison trying to get that running game going, and Jarrell Owens tripped them up.
You know, since that touchdown pass from Rypien to Hightower, that was the 10th play for Boise State. About 40 yards on 10 plays since then.
Going to the outside this time for Richardson, and he's about a yard shy of the line to gain. Only one timeout remaining for Boise State with 100 seconds left.
Yeah, they're in the 2-minute offense, and as long as Oklahoma State plays off, they'll have the short pass available to them.
Madison has the first down to the 32. That'll stop the clock to move the chains momentarily.
Boise State has struggled with the pressure from Oklahoma State. When they bring 4, they haven't been able to block them.
Oklahoma State was offsides, but I think they'll take this gain instead to Richardson for 9.
Yeah, that was Bundage, number 1, who jumped offside, and then he stopped. You know, at that point, you said, go ahead and go get the quarterback, right? You know, you're already guilty.
That's interesting, though, because if you run in and they have to whistle the play dead, it's 5 yards
Offside,
instead of the 9 or 8
number
here.
1, defense. That penalty is declined. Second down.
So they'll mark it at the 40, so second down and 2. pressure. Bundage again. Rypien was under duress and whipped it to the sideline. C.T. Thomas was the receiver in the area. Boy, Bundage was right there on Rypien.
Well, they can't block it. Hey, look at him wear out the tackle here. That's the left tackle over there, Cleveland. Now he's got them both. He got the right tackle, he got the left tackle. He's got too much quickness and speed. He just didn't get Rypien on the ground.
Bundage already has 6 tackles. 3rd down and 2. Heating them up again. Rypien, low throw, looking for a Killian Butler. Good pressure by Jordan Brailford, but he got it to Butler.
Hands underneath.
That looks like a catch to me.
As long as the hands are underneath, that's good. Doesn't matter if the ball touches the ground, if the hands are underneath.
Boise gets the snap off. Rypien lost it, and Robert Mahone rescues it at the 44-yard line. Jarrell Bernard got into the backfield and forced it out.
You get the sense that Oklahoma State is saying to anyone who will listen, they can't block us. That's a very delayed blitz that had Bernard coming in. He's a freshman from Shreveport, Louisiana, and he gets in and makes a play. But right now, Rypien is in trouble. They can't protect him.
Rod, I'm surprised that Boise isn't chipping Bundage, getting a man on him right away to deny his momentum, because he's got a free run at these tackles, and they can't handle his inside move and his edge rush. Yeah,
you know, actually, Q, they're moving him around so that they're probably having a little bit of trouble identifying where to put the chipper, because Bundage has moved from the left side to the right side to staying in the middle and rushing inside. So I think at some point they're going to have to find some help from a back to try and help out there.
A reminder that when we're done with a great top 25 matchup in Stillwater, you'll get to see the #1 team on the road tonight in a place that's been difficult for them. Got to go down to the Grove in Oxford, Mississippi. #1 Alabama taking on Ole Miss. And how about a little Hawaii flavor tonight in the quarterback matchup? Tua Tagovailoa and Jordan Ta'amu.
I think both those quarterbacks are going to do well tonight. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
High scoring tonight.
Have you seen those receivers at Ole Miss?
Listen, they might have the best receiving core in college football. DK Metcalf, that Brown kid, is going to be potentially a first-round pick, I think.
I think that's going to be a high-scoring affair.
No more timeouts for Boise State. 2nd and long. Pressure again, and down goes Rypien. Jarrell Owens racing in for the stop. These edge guys have been a handle, a load.
Well, too much confusion. You got 2 guys standing up here. He's just coming inside. They don't adjust for this. You got 1 back and a right tackle going to take 1 guy, and you leave completely open to come running inside by himself, Owens. Can't happen.
That's a blown protection by the right side of the line. Noise leading to confusion. Confidence low right now in this Bronco offensive line.
Yeah, it's terrible, Q. When you think about protecting your quarterback, you can't have your right tackle and your back go to the outside rusher. Usually you're taught inside out. You take the most dangerous man inside. Both those guys went outside and just opened it wide open for Owens to come inside with a straight shot at Rypien. You can't have mistakes like that. And if you're Oklahoma State, you're thinking, we own this offensive line right now. We can get to the quarterback with 4. We can get there with 5. They can't block us right now.
Oklahoma State smartly called a timeout. They force Boise State to have to run another play. They were hoping to save some time and maybe get the ball back. 3rd down and 24. Madison on the ground. We'll close out the opening half. Oklahoma State will get the ball to start the 2nd half. First meeting all time with Boise State, a high leverage top 25 game, and the Cowboys are on top 17-7. Joey, Jesse, Adnan, it's all yours in the studio for the halftime report. And a good one in Stillwater. ESPN College Football presented by PlayStation 4. A 17-7 Oklahoma State lead at the half in this top 25 matchup. Oak State ball to start the second. Adam Amin, Rod Gilmore, Quint Kesnick. Impressive stuff on both sides of the ball from Oklahoma State.
Absolutely stunning the way they've played on defense. I mean, the way that they've pressured Rypien and that offensive line has just been incredible. They really dialed it up after the first couple of series. And then who knew Oklahoma State had a running quarterback? Who thought that Mike Gundy would ever decide to go away from the passing game and say, I am a quarterback design run guru? That's the biggest surprise of the first half.
Out to the 25-yard line will come Oklahoma State. This is what you were talking about, Rod. They really got after Brent Rypien.
You know, the first couple of series, they played soft rush 3, and then after that, they said enough of that. They started bringing 4. They brought 5. That offensive line could not handle the speed and quickness of guys on the edge, Bundage, or anyone else. They had a tough time identifying blitzers, and even with the 4-man pressure, they couldn't handle that. And then offensively, this is the guy we're talking about. A look at today's PlayStation Player Index. Taylor Cornelius. He rushed the ball for 47 yards.
And he's on the move again, and he'll complete it to Tylan Wallace. Just like that, Oklahoma State out near midfield. Taylor Cornelius, just his 3rd career start. They've all come in the last 3 weeks. Prior to that, he had not started a game since his final high school game in 2013 in Bushland, Texas. He's got time, and he's got a man, and it's overthrown for Wallace. Q.
Tell you, Cornelius is excited. He's putting so much in each play. I spoke to Boise coach Brian Harsin, and he gave me a list of 3 things, guys. Number 1, offensive line. They're not playing fast. They're not communicating. They're getting beat. 2nd, special teams. The block punt was a 10-point swing. And the 3rd is the run of Cornelius. They have to tackle the big quarterback. That's new. That was unexpected. Let's see what adjustments they can make.
That's absolutely right. That's been the curveball that they had no reason to expect, and Oklahoma State pulled it out.
And keep this on the ground with the very shifty Justice Hill. And he explodes inside the red zone. Penalty marker thrown.
Adam, the great backs make a guy miss. Watch what he does to Pierce here in the hole. That's Justice Hill making a guy miss so that he can get a big play, but that big play is coming back.
The flag back at the 40.
Holding, number 13, offense, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Still 2nd down.
Tyron Johnson, the transfer from LSU, with the holding penalty, negating a 46-yard run. It is a spot foul, so the ball will be in midfield.
There you see, he is getting a lot of cloth there on Walker. He just grabbed him and held on.
2nd and 6. Cornelius over the top of the defense, and he's able to find Jalen McCleskey for his first catch of the day down to the 32.
Only about 5'10", but he gets up and makes that grab, and that right foot is inbounds. Matter of fact, that left foot is inbounds when he has it.
Rod, I'm in line with that pass, and what a strike that was, right between 2 Boise defenders. I mean, he put that right in the spot.
This time, pressure from Sam Whitney forces Cornelius to throw it away.
Q, I think we have to say that Cornelius is handling the pressure okay. Remember, this is a guy who was not heavily recruited. He's a guy that walked on because his head coach called an assistant coach at Oklahoma State and basically asked for a favor to allow him to walk on.
There's King on the move.
Adam, 4 years Taylor Cornelius, who's nicknamed Corn Dog by his head coach Mike Gundy, spent on the sidelines. I mean, he has waited for 4 years for this moment.
Looking. End zone. Stoner. He grabbed it, but it's incomplete, out of bounds.
And a good no call by the official. There was some hand fighting between both players going down the field. And there's no flag. That's Walker they're working on. Now remember, Walker is starting because Tyler Horton, their best corner, is out with a twisted knee or so. And that was a catch, but out of bounds. They've gone after Walker a few times.
It's his second career start. He started the Las Vegas Bowl against Oregon at the end of last season. So 4th down, they're going to bring Matt Amendola out for a 48-yard field goal here, but timeout, Oklahoma State first.
You know, when we timed Oklahoma State kicking pregame, they did not have an issue with timing.
We'll step aside during this timeout. Back at Stillwater, Matt Amendola out there for what would be a 48-yard attempt. He's already made from 22 today, trying to extend the Oklahoma State lead. Matt Amendola with 16 straight made field goals going back to last year. Well, week 2 of the NFL season is upon us. Our Sunday NFL Countdown crew will have all the early breaking stories, all of the injury updates right up to kickoff. It starts at 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. And then Monday Night Football Seahawks. For you Oklahoma State fans, you can watch Trey Flowers play corner. If you're a Boise State fan, watch Charles Leno play left tackle for the Bears. Bears blew one on Sunday against Green Bay. Seahawks got banged around a little bit by Denver. Both of those teams needing a win, including Matt Nagy, one of the 7 debuting head coaches in the NFL last week, all of whom lost in their new spots.
I say that about a lot of college coaches too.
You know, I was thinking the same thing. We had this discussion, and a couple of people on our crew said, hey, look at Kevin Sumlin struggling in a new spot. Scott Frost with a bad loss today against a good Troy team. That's nothing against Troy, but that's a home loss to a group of 5 team. Meanwhile, our guy Herm Edwards out west, he's doing pretty well in Arizona State. Upset win over Michigan State last year. Boise State, a couple of miscues in special teams. Not used to seeing that.
Yeah, I'm giving some credit to Oklahoma State on one of these. That field goal, that's just a miss. But on the blocked punt, Oklahoma State timed this pregame, and they saw that Boise State was slow getting the ball off. And they got in there, and they blocked that one. That is good pregame scouting and great execution.
Quinn Skillen and Joel Velasquez are the 2 punters. They use both of them at Boise State.
This is a big game for Boise State. We're talking about being in the driver's seat, having a smooth pass to a New Year's Six game.
Rypien had time, and he finds Khalil Shakir.
Don't question how tough Rypien is. He's been knocked around the entire first half, and he's going to get hit again by Phillips coming in here. Stands in there, takes the hit, and finds the freshman out there. Knows it's coming.
The senior out of Spokane, Washington. He's already thrown the ball 26 times today. To the edge, it's Hightower. Nothing there. Open field tackle by Rodarius Williams.
Yeah, this defense is too fast. And Williams has a little bit of the speed like his brother Greedy
over at LSU. They're in a tight one. LSU trailing Auburn at halftime by 4. That's a ranked matchup. This is a ranked matchup. And tonight on ABC, the only other ranked matchup with TCU and Ohio State. Rypien off target that time, looking for Blakely, and it's 3rd down and 10.
Let me ask you this. We talk about the importance of this ball game for Boise State, and we talk in terms of New Year's 6. Some people talk about the playoff if they win this game. I don't think there's any way a group of 5 teams ever gets into the playoff.
Not in the current structure.
Not in this structure.
Is that fair or unfair?
I don't think it matters if it's fair. It's life. It's the way it is. And I think it was set up that way. You'd have to have an extraordinary non-conference schedule as a group of 5 team to get into the playoffs. New Year's 6, that's something different.
I'll tell you, that win over Troy is looking much better now for Boise State. If they can come back in this one, it'd be huge. Rypien to the outside, looking for Thomas.
Well,
but a penalty marker, Q.
Bundage jumped again, Q.
Offside.
Both coaches.
Number 1, defense.
We're in
5-yard
disbelief.
penalty
Mike
from the
Gundy
previous spot.
thinks
Still
that their
3rd
right
down.
tackle for Boise moved. Brian Harsin thought the DN for Oklahoma State jumped.
Well, the one thing, if you're Bundage and you jump, you got to keep playing. And that's the 2nd time that he's held up and they've been hit with the penalty. Just go ahead and get to the quarterback. Don't stop.
Quick strike on the slant, and Thomas held on after the Malcolm Rodriguez hit. 1st down, Boise State.
Yeah, what a tough catch by a guy who's only about 170 pounds.
That was a hard-hitting safety in Rodriguez.
Well, you know, you see Boise State trying to respond to the pressure by using the quick game. 1, 2, 3, get it out.
Yeah.
Get rid of the ball. Now, if I'm an Oklahoma State cornerback, I'm reading 3-step. I'm watching the quarter. Even if I'm playing man coverage, I'm watching the quarterback for my first 3 steps to give myself a chance to jump on those short routes.
Rypien's going to use a timeout here.
Timeout. Boise State. 1st half.
We'll step aside as well. Fresh set of downs for Boise.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Idaho Potatoes, the first bite of every great meal. And Mitsubishi Motors, drive your ambition.
It felt good. I had a fight with him on his corner, but he was fine after.
Madeline McLaren and Bullets, the Spirit Rider. They've had a Spirit Rider at Oklahoma State football games since 1984. There's the duo right there. Got a chance to spend some time with them a little bit yesterday. Q got a first-hand look at the entire process, bringing the horse down from the farm and getting an opportunity to be ready for game day. It's been a fun one so far. Rypien underneath to Blakely, knocked down by Phillips.
Bullett's a big star around here. 21-year-old quarter horse. Has been doing it for 14 years. Pre-game, he runs between the band from end to end, and he can move. And then after each touchdown that the Cowboys score, he does a little circle on the left side of the field. He also makes pre-game appearances, and he's a star on social media as well.
And there's a whole entourage surrounding Bullet. Got a bigger crew than Ron and Q do. There's Madison. This is one of the better runs of the day, I think, from Boise State.
Yeah, and all because of Madison's vision. That play was designed to go to the right. He felt and saw the hold to the left. You see him jump back to that left side and then finishes the run. This is a 3rd and short now. One of the few times that Boise State has been in this situation.
Straight up the gut on the sneak. Boise State was averaging less than 2 yards per carry in this game. They pick up enough for the first down with Rypien.
And this is the area where you start to see Oklahoma State really think about bringing more pressure.
Okay.
Right from here on in, you're going to see more pressure, I think, from Oklahoma State.
You know, typically this is high red zone, let's say. This is a trick play area of the field for Boise historically, but down right now by the score, I don't see it.
Here comes the heat from Oklahoma State. Rypien was hit as he throws. What a catch! A.J. Richardson! What a catch! Get your highlight reels ready for that grab. My goodness.
One-handed, inbounds, left foot, right foot, end zone.
Come on!
Oh, wow. Wow. Now that might be your catch of the day.
Wow. Absolutely incredible. He did that last week, too. He had a one-handed catch on a screen pass, which ended up in a 74-yard catch and run.
Partner,
that one was better.
That is way better
That
than
was
a screen
way
pass.
better than last week.
Staying in bounds, grabbing it with one hand, and fending off the defensive back at the same time.
That was incredible. A jaw-dropping, sensational play by the senior from California.
Now you get pressure from Oklahoma State, which results in the man-to-man coverage, but nothing is better than that. A one-handed catch by Richardson.
Welcome back to Dr. Pepper's Championship Drive Game of the Week. And Boise State's A.J. Richardson with a highlight reel touchdown.
Well, we're all impressed, but he's not. I mean, just watch the way he's like, matter of fact, I do this every day. No celebration, no teammates. It's like, man, I get this every single day. It's no big deal.
Like I said, he did it last week, although not in that spectacular a fashion. Chuba Hubbard, the speedster, on the return. And finally, the Broncos will get him corralled across the 30-yard line. Bruno DeRose on the stop.
Well, two big passing plays for Boise State. That's been their offense.
Yeah.
And they're in this ball game. For as poorly as Coach Harsin said they played, they're one possession out of this game.
Taylor Cornelius is going to go back to work. These are the passes that you're talking about. The first one to Hightower.
Yeah, Hightower, again, beating man coverage. Good protection there. And then the spectacular A.J. Richardson one-handed catch.
There's two big plays. Another option play, a read play, and Cornelius kept it. But Curtis Weaver, who had a unreal freshman season last year with the stop.
Well, a little bit of an adjustment at halftime for Boise State, getting their in to play the quarterback on that zone read.
Cornelius finds Stoner on the outside. They set up third down. About 8 here.
The issue for Oklahoma State is that if they can't run it like that, they've got some trouble because they've not thrown the ball very well today.
Broncos bring a blitz. Cornelius with time. Throws past the sticks for Stoner. And it's a catch for a first down. How about Dylan Stoner answering with an impressive play?
Good grab, both feet. Only need one in college, but he got them both in.
And Cornelius right back downfield. This time it's Wallace. Cornelius starting to look a little bit more comfortable, Rod. I thought you made a great point in the first half. You and Q both said it. The runs and the short passes, I think, got him a little confidence after that shaky start.
No doubt.
Still on his feet. Telling Stoner to move ahead, and he finds him. Right in front of Benton Wickersham. Very close to the sticks.
He's directing traffic now. I mean, that's how much he's grown from the very first series. He is now telling receivers where to go so he can throw the ball.
Remember, this is only career start number 3 and only career game number 10. J.D. King brought down, but he has enough to move the chains.
Well, the other thing is that since he's 6'6" and 230, when you go in to get him, you better bring something, because he's been shaking off tacklers in the pocket.
Nothing downfield. Stays on his feet. Takes a shot. Incomplete. Looking for McCleskey.
Well, and that's exactly what we were talking about. Now, he may be marked. I don't know if he fully avoided going down here. Let's see what happens. He just gets out of that one.
I think the elbow went down, Rod.
That's the right elbow down. Yeah, they should mark him down there.
Yeah, that should be a loss. Durant Miles should get credit for that tackle for loss.
Boise's bench is asking Scott Campbell to take a look.
The previous play is under further review.
Yeah, Q, you nailed it. I think that should be a pretty easy turn on the replay. It should be a pretty quick overturn. This is fairly obvious.
I'd call this indisputable video evidence.
Yes.
There's that right elbow. He's down. Right there.
It's like he's playing in the backyard during this series, guys. He's pretty relaxed.
Yeah.
23-year-old Bushland, Texas. Way out there in West Texas.
Not many people in Bushland, Texas, right? What, about 1,000 or so?
The population of Bushland, Texas at the turn of the century was 130. It's unincorporated area. Now, over the last decade and a half, it's grown about 1,000%. It's about 1,000 people now. This is where Bushland, Texas is. You really got to go to this sleepy West Texas town, just under 1,100 for the population. When people describe Taylor Cornelius, they say he wants nothing to do with talking about himself. He's a country boy who embodies the spirit of that sleepy West Texas town in Bushland, Texas. Mike Gundy says he's a very unassuming guy. He's got a very stoic, calm, cool personality, and you can see that in his play.
He's also a unicorn. You just
That's right.
You don't find quarterbacks in this day and age who stay at a place 3-4 years without transferring and just waiting for their turn.
And he waited 4 years.
After review, the quarterback's elbow and forearm were down at the 32-yard line. It's going to be second down.
Now with that, they also had to check the clock. There's a reason that took a little bit longer, because if he goes down in play, the clock will have to start on the referee's whistle. They spot it back at the 32-yard line. So it'll be second and long coming up. Cornelius has kind of that all-American boy feel. His girlfriend is a senior captain on the Palm squad here at Oklahoma State. The big Texan.
That's
his
a
third career start.
tough matchup on the bottom there.
Yep.
Very tough matchup.
Got Walker in a difficult spot. Right over the middle. Quick strike to Stoner. And a lot of space. And Dylan Stoner to the end zone.
Just man-to-man coverage, a shallow cross. Everybody gets run off because everybody else is playing man coverage. Now, does he get inside? Yes, he does.
First touchdown of the season for the redshirt sophomore from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Oklahoma State extends the lead. It's 13. This season, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, All-State will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, All-State. They make a lot of contributions. That guy's made some contributions, I think, to Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, where's the T?
Where's the T? Thomas Boone Pickens Jr. Where's the T in the stadium? It's my first trip here. I thought it was T. Boone Pickens Stadium.
Well, we were told that folks in these parts don't use the T. They call him Boone Pickens. And
although someone else may also slipped in, most of us just call him Mr.
Yeah,
Pickens.
his good friends. His good friends call him Mr. Pickens.
Been open since 1920. It was known as Lewis Field, renamed Boone Pickens Stadium in 2003. Now time for today's Aflac trivia question.
Aflac!
Hey, buddy. Mike Gundy and Brian Harsin both played quarterback at the schools where they currently coach. So which current coach of their alma mater passed for the most career yards? That's a great question by our crew. I mean, there are a lot of guys in action today that are alums of the schools that they're coaching at. Paul Christ and Kalani Sitake over on ABC. They're both
Scott
alums of their
Nebraska, but he didn't throw it that much.
No, he was a great option QB. There's Madison on the move.
Texas Tech, gentlemen.
Oh, Cliff Kingsbury. That might be the right. That might be a pretty good answer right there, Q.
What he had, what, 2 years as a starter?
Yeah, that's true. But in that offense, you wonder if
you get a lot of yards.
Barry Odom wasn't a quarterback. Mark Richt, maybe.
He handed it off.
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll get to the answer in a little bit. That's a great job by our crew. That's an awesome question. Boise State down 13. Right back to the running game with Madison, and the penetration from Brailford is there.
That is great execution, poor adjustment by Boise State. Brailford stands in the middle, and then he just figures out where the blocking is, and you see the left guard had no chance of picking him up there, and the center Larson, they also just did not adjust to seeing him. He moved so late that they had already made their situations committed for blocking. 7 tackles for loss for Oklahoma State.
A quick screen with pressure coming right away, and incomplete for Madison. Guess who was in the backfield again? Jordan Brailford.
Yeah, they have not handled the pressure well at all. And Oklahoma State recognizes they can keep dialing it up. They've been hurt by the deep ball, but only when that pressure has been picked up.
Snap to kick here, 2 seconds. Snap to kick, 2 seconds.
Already a block today for Oklahoma State. And another one! Bernard with the block! And the scoop and score for Oklahoma State! Zacharias Green with the touchdown off the Bernard block.
Wow. Hard to believe that Oklahoma State could get a second one. We talked about the issue with the timing. They were taking too long in pregame warm-up. They took too long the first time they were blocked. And this time the freshman Bernard gets in and gets the block, and Green picks it up and gets the touchdown.
And Q, you were right on top of it. Both of you guys saw in pregame that Boise State was taking a while to get the punts off. You want sub 2 seconds when you're getting punts off. They've been above 2 seconds.
Q, how could they not adjust at halftime? How could they not pick this up?
Well, if your personnel is slow, if the ball's not getting back there fast enough, there's only so many ways you can protect it. But
and Q, they've done it to both punters today, too. They did it to the lefty and now the righty.
That looked like a complete breakdown of the protection.
Well, we were stunned pregame. We kept double-checking our watches, our stopwatches, because that can't be right. They can't be that slow with their punt. And as we did it over and over, they were consistently slow. And we kept looking over at the Oklahoma State coaches, who were also timing, but they were more discreet in their reaction.
Right.
They were like, well, let's play it cool. We got something here.
Yeah, so you see GAs and assistant special teams coaches walk around with stopwatches, and they're clicking every snap and every kick. Punts, got to get the ball off the foot, 2 seconds or less. Field goals, somewhere in the 1.25 second range or 1.3 second range to ensure that there's no blocks.
Yeah,
and they're logging every snap and every kick during warmups.
And Q, these were well over 2 second pregame. They were 2-3, 2-4.
The Oklahoma State special teams unit has cashed in a couple of times. This will be a procedure penalty here. You know what the penalty is. We'll check in with that, Vert.
All right, thank you very much, Adam. Notre Dame Fighting Irish 2-0, but facing Vanderbilt, it was a tough test in South Bend, 22-17, and Vandy had a shot. Collegiate Lipscomb, but cannot haul it in on 4th down. So the Irish win it 22-17. Wimbush, though, numbers still uninspiring. Adam?
Man, Notre Dame was getting tested earlier today by Vanderbilt. They got a big one coming up against Stanford.
That's in a couple weeks. Stanford has Oregon next week.
Yep.
Tough stretch for the Cardinal coming up.
Another tight win for ND. This one against an SEC opponent in Vanderbilt. Rypien, a little too tall, looking for Blakely, and more pressure in the backfield from Oklahoma State's defense.
Well, it's unbelievable how well Oklahoma State has played defensively. They replaced a few players this offseason, but they've relied on pressure and their speed. Their speed has enabled them to shut down Boise State's rushing attack, and their pressure has confused the offensive line for the Broncos.
Oklahoma State being allowed to sub. Now the play clock's winding down.
We've seen a real willingness this year for the officials, the referee, to put that substitution sign, for them to stand over the ball and allow the defense to finish a sub, even if it costs the offense a delay of game penalty.
Delay of game. Offense. Boise State substituted with the play clock running down. By rule, we got to give Oklahoma State on defense an opportunity to match up. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
So, Q, exactly what Scott Campbell said. We specifically asked him about this because you brought up a point to Andy Avalos, the defensive coordinator of Boise State. And Avalos said, I'm glad that referees are being more deliberate about making sure that the defense gets to sub. The sub clock starts when all of the offensive players are set. Then the 3-second window begins. The referees have to give the defense an opportunity to sub as well. That one thrown behind Butler, but a good catch out to the 36-yard line.
So, Rod, what that means, if you're facing a tempo team and they sub, you better darn be sure that you need to sub defensively and do it as slowly as you can.
Absolutely, because that clock won't start until your guy gets out there within the 3 seconds. And again, the 3 seconds will not begin to run until the offense is set.
Four-man rush, but it came from very different angles. Excellent job by Rypien to find Butler right at the sticks for the first down.
Yeah, Oklahoma State has figured out that the delayed blitz really works. The offensive line commits, and then they bring someone from about 5 yards off after the offensive line has committed, and if they don't get the sack, they are still getting a hit on Rypien. And look, defensively, name of the game, you better hit the quarterback. Right.
Rypien doing a nice job adjusting, and he finds Monster. Bundage makes the stop out near midfield. Second down coming up. Rod, I want to go back to a point that you've been making sure to hit on. This is an important game for Boise State. Nobody else in the group of 5 really has a monster out-of-conference game. Now, the American's good. UCF's good. South Florida was struggling a little bit today against Illinois, but they're good. I think Houston's really good. They're playing Texas Tech today. Incomplete there, looking for Monster. But nobody's got this type of monster ranked on the road matchup. This is an important game for Boise State to put themselves in the driver's seat for a potential New Year's Six spot.
Yeah, and you take a look at the most likely members of the group of 5 to get to that New Year's Six game, and without a major non-conference win, it's going to be a dogfight among these 4. Boise State with a great opportunity today, but right now struggling to get a hold of this game.
By the way, Houston tied with Texas Tech.
Yep,
28 up.
There you go.
3rd down and 6. Another exotic look on the blitz. This time Rypien's protected, and he's got Modster inside the 30-yard line.
Yeah, they picked up the pressure this time, an odd blitz, but this time you got your running back in the backfield to help pick up the blitz, and you'll see 34 Mahone come over, and that helps. And plenty of time to get Modster in the middle of the field.
Rypien to Modster again. First and goal for Boise State.
See what a difference it makes when you can protect the quarterback. Rypien has a bit more time. The middle of the field is wide open, and there he is.
Back-to-back 23-yard catches for Sean Modster. Guy who had a very slow start to his career at Boise State has been really good going back about a calendar year. Rypien's going to keep it here, and he gets hit hard. Kenneth Edison Magruder was right there. Second down and goal coming up.
At some point, with the rushing attack sort of failing Boise State here, what's the pass that works down here? Do you try and rub off a defender? Do you use your tight end? And I think they're more inclined to use tight ends down here.
Do you like the crossing routes here in this tight of an area?
I don't
or no?
think they have time for a crossing route. It's more likely a rub.
And move the pocket. Rypien floats it. Third and goal coming up.
Yeah, they just can't. They can't hold off the pressure when Oklahoma State is committed to it. When they bring 4, 5, it speeds up everything. I don't think they have the time down here, so it's more likely going to be a fade or your tight end getting something quick for you, because they just don't have enough time to wait on a crossing route or anything else that takes a little time.
Pressure on Rypien. Incomplete. Looking for Modster.
Yeah. No time. You just don't have the time for that. The pressure's too much.
Enoch Smith got into the backfield, forced Rypien to rush that throw. Boise State has already gone for it multiple times on 4th down today, and down by 20 here. They're going to go for the end zone. Mike Gundy wants a timeout.
Boise subbed multiple tight ends into the game. They went bunch to the right, and Gundy didn't like what he saw.
Oklahoma State, first and a half.
And QE called a timeout. Let's check in with Adnan Verk in the studio.
Stand by. All right, Adam, thank you. Updating you on LSU and Auburn. Tigers up, Auburn that is, 14-10, third and goal. Jarrett Stidham. Darius Slayton wide open. And Auburn, after trailing earlier, now up 21-10 with 5.5 left to go. And how about Wisconsin? Upset alert, they're down by 7 against BYU as Jonathan Taylor 117 yards, although Wisconsin just punched it in. Adam, back to you.
Good stuff, AV. Interesting games going on right now. You know, we talked to you about why this game is important for Boise State. Let's flip the script a little bit.
Yep.
For Oklahoma State, people were saying here in Stillwater, hey, if we win this game, big game against a top 20 team, look at what's coming up. They don't have that real murderer's row in the Big 12 until November.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, West Virginia, TCU. Now that is as tough of a stretch as anybody's got in November, but leading up to it, you've got some, I don't want to say easy games, but some interesting games, I'll call
Kansas State is sneaky tough.
Okay.
But you're right. They could get through September and October undefeated, you know, be ranked in the top 15 with the murderer's row waiting for them and in prime contention for the Big 12 Conference Championship game.
After the timeout, 4th down and goal for Boise State. Rypien fires to Blakely for the touchdown. Stood in the pocket and delivered.
We talked about the tight ends down here. Bigger target, smaller room. but Rypien taking his time, stepping up in the pocket, something he hasn't done or been able to most of the day. When he stepped up before, he didn't have any room. This time he steps up and finds his really big target, 6'4" Blakely. And you see Harper pumping the fist. They're alive.
Blakely didn't have a catch in the first 2 games of the season. He had only 3 career catches. He's got 6 today, including that touchdown. 90 seconds for the third. Now we get a chance to answer today's Aflac trivia question. Mike Gundy, Bryan Harsin, both quarterbacks at the schools that they now coach at. Which current coach of their alma mater had the most career passing yards? Q said Cliff Kingsbury. Let's see what we got here. Nice call, Q. 12,429 for Cliff Kingsbury, who's in a dogfight with Houston today.
Well, Gundy was no dog here at Oklahoma State. I mean, Gundy was a heck of a quarterback. Had some great running backs with Thurman Thomas and Barry Sanders, but he was the career passing leader here at one point.
Until all 3 of those guys he coached passed him up on the touchdown and yards marks.
Yep.
How about that? That's pretty cool. When you've got the record and then you coach 3 quarterbacks to incredible heights.
Gives you a little credibility
I
when
think
you're
so,
coaching.
I would say. Touchback to the 25. Well, let's stick in the Big 12 a little bit. You said how big of a night this is, how big of a week this is for the Big 12 in non-conference play. Big opportunity. Number 15 TCU at Jerry's World, taking on number 4 Ohio State, 8 Eastern on ABC and the ESPN app for Saturday Night Football. Mike Gundy, kind enough to give us a little bit of a scouting report. He thinks the skill and athleticism, especially of the quarterbacks for Ohio State, is impressive. He said Gary Patterson wants to match the tempo that Ohio State plays with. That would be something to watch tonight in Arlington, Texas. McCleskey out on the perimeter.
I just don't know how TCU blocks that Ohio State defensive front. Joey Bosa and company, that's
Nick Bosa. Yep.
Yeah, that Nick Bosa, that's a crazy defensive line. That's hard to deal with.
How good are they in comparison to a team like Clemson that we always talk about with their D-line?
You know, you pick the one, I'll take the other.
Sure,
I'll
that's what you have to go with. There's Justice Hill on the move, spinning through tacklers, and he's out across the 40-yard line.
Not much of a hole, but, you know, that's just that inside zone. He knows he's got a cutback lane in that gap between the guard and the tackle, and he finds it right away.
Quick strike on the slant, and Johnson could not hold on. He was wide open in space.
You know, one thing about leads like this in a ball game, they're not quite safe because of the style of play. Now everybody goes up tempo.
More possessions.
It used to be back in the day, you know, you down by 2 scores, 3 scores, the clock would kill you. Not today with this up tempo.
Outside, good catch by Wallace. And somehow he gets the first down across midfield.
A lot of room out there. Defensive backs for Boise State are playing way off. Easy pitch and catch for Cornelius.
And a hole for Justice King. Another big gainer out to the 36-yard line.
You know, Justice King was not heavily recruited. And he's turned himself into an NFL prospect. But his brother, Dax, is being recruited by everybody.
Another strike to McCleskey. McCleskey, Johnson, Stoner, Wallace. They've got Hill and King and Hubbard in the backfield. There's a lot of weapons from Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Justice Hill is a phenomenal back, and I don't believe he's going to be back for his senior year next year.
You think he's going to the NFL?
Yeah, I believe so.
Getting ready for quarter number 4. We had a scoreless first quarter. We've seen 55 points in the last 30 minutes. We might be in for a fun fourth. Come on back to Stillwater. back to ESPN College Football, presented by PlayStation 4. Second down and 5 for Oklahoma State to start the fourth quarter. A lot of points in the last 2 frames. Design run, Cornelius brought down by Whitney. Third down coming up.
That run has not worked since the first half. Halftime adjustment doing a good job of taking that away, and they hurry up again here. They might be in 2-down territory also.
Cornelius outside, first down, Wallace. They went after Avery Williams that time, and Wallace picks up a dozen. For Mike Gundy, this is only the second-ranked non-conference opponent that has come to Stillwater. You got to go back to 2009, the last time they saw a non-conference foe with a number next to their name. That was Georgia in 09. Reverse. Stoner, he's going to pass it to Cornelius, and he gets shut down by Tyreek Jones. He's got a little interesting there.
Everybody has to have a trick play when they play Boise State. If you were around in the first quarter, you saw that Boise State's trick play did not work. They abandoned it, and it took Gundy until the fourth, but he had one up his sleeve too.
Everybody wants to throw the quarterback now. Brady and Foles in the Super Bowl, everybody wants to do it now. Might have to ask Mike what he calls that. You got Philly, maybe that's Stilly. That's my guess.
I see what you did there.
I'm not proud of it. Justice Hill staying on his feet, getting close to the first down marker. We'll pick up 8 there, and it's first and goal.
Man, he makes guys miss, doesn't he?
His jump cut, Rod, is vicious. When he puts his foot in the ground, he finds the gaps, he sets up blocks, and then you try to tackle him, poof, he's gone. He just plants and moves sideways.
No chance. One-on-one tackle with him is almost impossible. He's about 6.3 yards per rush today.
Design run. Cornelius got tripped up by Pierce, shy of the goal line. Second down and goal.
Yeah, quarterback power. They just pull the offside lineman, get him in front of him, and you got yourself a little mini convoy there with a big old quarterback coming in after him. And how about Cornelius? I mean, we said at the beginning of the ball game, Boise State would be happy if he ran it 15 times. Well, he's made a mockery of that. He's run it. Cornelius has run it all these times and got himself gone.
We'll go to Hill, and he gets stacked up. Chase Hatata with the penetration there.
Tell you, Cornelius is beat up, hobbling, bleeding, his left elbow. You see the blood on his pants.
Yeah.
He has put a ton into this game emotionally. You know, this is a game he's been pointing for all summer. Earned the starting spot after 4 years as a backup.
Well, he may take some more punishment here, because it wouldn't surprise me on this third down if he's actually running it again. Oh, no. Wildcat.
Justice Hill. Trying to find the seam, and just shy again. Sonatane Louis was holding on for dear life.
So do you need that, though? I mean, after the way you run the football? I mean, your quarterback, he may be banged up, but he's been killing folks, and when you hand it off to him, he gets it. So maybe you outsmart yourself a little bit. Wildcat, we haven't seen the entire day.
Well, now on the doorstep of the goal line with 4th and goal coming up. The field goal unit is out there. This would make it a 16-point lead. I would put Boise State into a difficult spot to need 2 touchdowns and a pair of 2-point conversions. Clock was winding down.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
And that penalty is actually, for most kickers, they're okay with getting a little bit of cushion. In fact, they'll move it back to a 23-yard field goal.
It helps his angle. That's right.
Yeah, the angle's easier, right?
The biggest challenge, guys, for Amendola right here is when he looks up at the goalpost is the giant video monitor.
He sees himself.
Yeah, no, exactly. Matt Stover, the Ravens, told me his first kick as a Raven. He looked up, he saw himself. and he asked the VP of in-house production to change it. He said, never show me when I'm getting ready to take a kick.
Well, that big board does not rival the one at AT&T Stadium that you're going to see for TCU and Oklahoma State tonight, but that's still pretty good. How about that? 56 by 110.
Ole Miss features some terrific wideouts in Jordan Ta'amu. Looking forward to being a part of the action for Ole Miss tonight. Can they pull off the upset against Alabama? The Rebels have played them well in the past. That game is coming up after this one. Adam Amin, back to you and Rod.
AV, perfect segue into our All-State College Football rankings. You'll see number 1 in just a little bit, and you'll see number 4 over on ABC tonight. Some tight ones, though, in the top 10. Some teams got tested today.
Oklahoma got a real test from Iowa State.
Notre Dame had a tight win against Vanderbilt earlier today. I think Washington-Utah is going to be a fun one, with Washington going on the road on ESPN tonight. After Washington and Utah, we're going to have SportsCenter for you. Kirk Herbstreit, as he does on Saturday nights, is going to help break down the day in college football, specifically the Ohio State-TCU matchup that he's a part of, plus all the best moments of Week 3 of college football. Plus, I really enjoyed watching Stephen A. and Teddy Atlas go at it last night, talking about Canelo and Triple G. We'll get their reactions tonight from the fight, 1 a.m. Eastern on SportsCenter.
I think the catch by A.J. Richardson is on SportsCenter.
I think it's got that might be ready to go. That's a top 10 moment. All right, Brett Rypien back to work. Over 300 yards passing today, but down by 16. And after all of that, a whistle.
He is.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Rypien is 29 of 41. 303 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he's been put on his back a number of times.
Rypien, deep shot, incomplete. Looking for Monster. You mentioned the 303. Got a flag.
Holding, number 78, offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still first down.
Preciado with the penalty. So with the 300-yard passing game, Brett Rypien, as you mentioned, a guy who could choose to play in the shadow of his uncle at Washington State or have to live up to the expectations left by Kellen Moore. He's now passed Kellen Moore for the most 300-yard games.
He broke all of Kellen Moore's records in high school.
In high school in Washington.
And when they got him at Boise State, they offered him Kellen Moore's number. Brian Harsin said no.
Yeah, Brian Harsin, who was the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, he said, I don't know about all that.
He said that number 11 for Kellen Moore, no one's going to wear that again.
Yep.
Too much pressure to put on a kid to have him wear that number 11.
Kellen Moore, now the quarterback's coach for the Dallas Cowboys. Looking for Richardson. Incomplete, and it's 3rd down and long.
That's just a huge 3rd down. You start counting possessions. How many more times will Boise State get the football? Maybe not enough. Maybe 3 possessions in this 4th quarter for them, including this one. They need to convert here, because the more that clock runs, the fewer possessions, they just run out of opportunities.
C.T. Thomas jarred out of bounds near the 25. Arguably the biggest difference in this game is special teams right now. Watch this. You guys nailed it, you and Q. Look at the clock in the corner. You want to be sub-2 from snap to foot on leather. Both times with 2 different punters, they've been 2.3-ish and right around 2.
Yeah, they've been slow.
This is Quinn Skillen. He's the lefty. Wasn't easy that time either. Skillen does a nice job of flipping the field. 49-yard kick.
Special teams have not been good for Boise State today. 2 block kicks, 14 points. They also missed a field goal of 26 yards. And you don't usually find the Broncos having trouble with special teams.
Now Oklahoma State in control. Less than 10 to play. Nothing there for Hill. The penetration by Miles.
But it's the right strategy. Run the ball, run some clock, keep the pressure on Boise State. You start throwing the ball around, you start extending the game. And there's no reason to do that if you're Oklahoma State, considering how your defense is playing.
Watch the play clock, Rod. Let's see how much they leave on before the snap.
Down to about 12 at the snap. Cornelius flinging deep. Intercepted, but out of bounds. It will not count. Good effort by Tyreek Jones, but they'll rule it incomplete.
Yeah, not a fan here. I don't think you have to throw this. This is still a tremendous effort. Does anything land inbound? No, he's out of bounds.
Backside went out of bounds first.
Good call. But, you know, there's no reason to stop the clock.
Yeah, you just said you don't want to see him fling the ball down the field.
There's no reason to stop the clock. You keep running the football, keep the pressure on Boise State, you know, burn another minute and a half off the clock. But instead you stop it, and now you got a third down. You're keeping them alive instead of, you know, shortening the game.
Blitz coming from the Broncos, and they get to Cornelius with Jarrell Frazier. That is a clutch defensive play for Boise State inside of 9 minutes.
The last couple plays worked out in their favor, and he's just over here. You'll see the pressure come in. He gets around the tight end, a good little move, and he's got an open highway. Yeah, I just don't think that was a good series for the Cowboys. In my book, bad play selection. They could have burned more time off the clock. They chose not to.
Dangerous return man, Khalil Shakir, true freshman for Boise, Adam. He has lightning in a bottle. He's very talented.
The Boise State coaches have been raving about him this week. It is downed inside the 45. Good field position for Boise State. The defense comes up with a sack to close the drive. It's Bronco ball.
ESPN College Football is presented by PlayStation 4, the best place to play.
Some of the great players in Boise history, including a couple of quarterbacks, Jared Zabransky, the signal caller in that upset against Oklahoma. Brian Harsin, who's been part of a lot of these as an assistant and now a head coach, has said these are the games that put Boise State on the map.
He played clips to his team last night and told them to be ready to seize the moment, as Boise teams in the past have, but they've got an uphill battle right now.
If they're going to seize it, it's got to be now. A 3-and-out by Oklahoma State. And Rypien looking outside for Butler. Could not get him. Good coverage by Green.
Yeah, that 3-and-out by Oklahoma State burned off 98 seconds.
That's it.
It should have been a 3-minute possession for them, even if they didn't get a first down.
That was their first 3-and-out since the opening series of the game. Madison, short gain. Third down coming up here. Huge third down and 7 for Boise State to try to stay in this game. Rypien gets swallowed up. Bundage and Harper.
He had nowhere to go with the football. Coverage, sack, and Harper sitting there as a spy in the middle, waiting for him to step up. Watch him step up away from the pressure. There you see 16 Harper right there waiting. But the coverage down the field was really good. And how about the 5th sack of the game? The 8th tackle for loss for the Cowboys.
Stoner, fair catch, 28-yard line.
You love that name.
I feel like a lot of people really enjoy that name for various reasons. 7 minutes to play. Welcome back to Dr. Pepper's Championship Drive game of the week. This game with some playoff and New Year's 6 implications early on in the season. Oklahoma State with a stop, up by 2 full scores. And Justice Hill. Foot race. Justice Hill. There's your closer. What a score.
Adam, it begins right at the point of attack with a great double team, and we've talked about this ability to make the guy in the middle miss when you got one guy on you. And how about get off me? Get off me, Mr. Walker. You cannot hang with me. Get off me. What? What a run by Justice Hill.
It was a 72-yarder. It did look like perhaps that he may have stepped out of bounds. So they're going to take a look at this play.
All I know is that he made Pierce
step out of bounds
miss him.
A touchdown. The previous play is under further review.
He made Pierce miss him. Well, that looks like he stepped out right there.
19-yard line or so.
Yeah. But he made Pierce miss him in the middle of the field, turned on the Jets, and then told Mr. Walker, who was in for Tyler Horton, you can't hang.
Yeah.
You cannot get to this.
We've seen him with the jump cuts, the stiff arm, the shoving defenders out of his way. You know, he loves to watch YouTube highlights of Barry Sanders and Thurman Thomas.
Led the Big 12 last year with nearly 1,500 yards.
That is such a phenomenal run.
Yeah.
I mean, finding the hole, making the first guy miss, and then the physicalness of this straight arm. Wow.
Looks like 19-yard line, so take the touchdown likely off the board, although that will give the opportunity to Oklahoma State to maybe run a little bit more time off the clock as well.
But what a set of skills.
Yeah.
After review, the runner's left foot stepped out of bounds at the 19-yard line. It's going to be first and 10 at the 19. For the game clock operator, please put 6 minutes, 44 seconds on the game clock. 6:44. Thank you.
I'm not surprised by the strength. I know you're a fan of Twitter. We're always kind of jumping around looking for stuff. You go to Justice Hill's Twitter and Oklahoma State's Twitter from a year ago. There was a viral video of this guy squatting 565 pounds. This guy is a beast, and it doesn't necessarily hit you just looking at him on TV, but this dude can run.
Well, we knew he could run through tackles, but that bench press right there. Man.
He's getting a breather as J.D. King checks in. And King slipping some tackles as well. Q, you said something to me in the break I think was very apt. You said, remember what Mike Gundy told us about. Remember last week at halftime against South Alabama? He actually told the radio announcer, Robert Allen of the Cowboy Network, he said, we can't block anybody. We can't run the ball. There was a lot of criticism of his offensive line over the course of this week. And the running game, when they've needed it to, has been very impressive.
They've redeemed themselves today.
Another missed tackle.
We need to be able to run it when they know we're going to run it. He was highly critical of his offensive line. We've got to block the 5 or 6 in the box. Just get bodies on them and give Justice a chance where he's not making cuts in the backfield. He's getting some momentum to the line of scrimmage. We've seen that in the second half today where he gets through that initial hole and then look out with that jump cut.
Well, Justice and J.D. King, they have both made guys miss, whether it's in the backfield or in the middle of the field. And Hill is now back out there with 3rd and 1. If it's me, he's getting the football.
Oh, Cornelius with the keep. He's got the first down as he takes quite the hit. Pierce wrapped him up low.
That ice bath is going to feel pretty good to Cornelius tomorrow. Oh, you may get one tonight.
Yeah, he's got that black tape on his left elbow area. Remember, Q pointed out there was a lot of blood in that area. He's got some on his jersey, a little bit on his pants. This kid's tough. He waited a long time. 4 years, one of those a redshirt year, behind Mason Rudolph. Former walk-on who was just placed on scholarship last fall camp after biding his time. Cornelius with the push from the line. Since 2013, the Bush push, as it's now known, with that Reggie Bush play, is legal, and Tevin Jenkins finished this one off.
All 310 pounds of him, number 73, pushing Cornelius into the end zone. And I have to tell you, I've not seen an Oklahoma State team this physical in quite a while. I mean, from the way their defense got after the Broncos to the way this offensive line has attacked that front seven.
This was the first real test for this Oklahoma State team, for both of these teams. I mean, listen, they put up great numbers in the first 2 weeks, but it wasn't against this type of competition for both of these squads. This is a good barometer for what Boise State is going to need to work on as they go into Mountain West play, and a good barometer for what we might see from Oklahoma State as Big 12 play begins.
And a loss doesn't eliminate Boise State in terms of the race for the New Year's Six game.
No, highest ranked conference champion of the group of 5 gets the New Year's Six slot. But this would have been a heck of a win if Boise State were to have gotten it, because that keeps your ranking high and that gives you some cushion as you go into your conference.
And the schedule looked like it was something they could run the table with.
Sure.
And it was going to be hard for others to catch them. Now they'll be right in the mix with everybody else.
UCF, South Florida, Houston. There's going to be some other group of 5s that start to show up as the year goes on. This has been an impressive second half from Oklahoma State. And it's been led by that man. 3rd career start for Taylor Cornelius. Smile on his face.
Adnan Burke back in our college football studios. The biggest upset of the day. Rafael Gaglianone misses from 42 yards out, and Wisconsin won 41 straight at home versus non-conference opponents. The longest active streak. They go down to BYU, Adam.
Wow. Maybe the biggest upset of the year.
ESPN College Football presented by PlayStation 4. Man, that's the upset I think a lot of people were waiting to see in college football. It's pumped up today.
Well, we were talking about, we had gone a couple of weeks without one.
I mentioned it's extra yard for teachers time here on ESPN. Mike Gundy talked about that, specifically about his wife.
My wife's a school teacher. She was a 5th grade school teacher. When we started having children, she hasn't gone back to teaching. But a funny story is when we were first married, before we had kids, I would come home from work at 9:30 or 10 being a coach, and she would be sitting in the living room with all the papers spread out, and she would be grading papers. And until then, I thought teachers went to work at 8 and got home at 3:30, and that was it. I didn't know that all the money and the time and effort they put in to developing our children. So I learned to have a lot more respect for teachers.
Great stuff from Mike Gundy. We'll share something about him in a moment. There was a flag, by the way, on that procedure penalty, so Boise State has it at its own 35. Quick strike to Thomas. You know, obviously here in the state of Oklahoma back in April, there was a walkout by several teachers around the state protesting low pay, overcrowded classrooms, tax cuts, resulting in a lot of lower statewide education spending before the OEA finally agreed to salary increases and more for state funding of education. During that period, Mike Gundy, who's a father of 2 public school students, he said, I'm in full support of the teachers who are protesting. I'm 100% behind those educators. I don't pretend to know all the ins and outs of it, but I'm invested in the situation. And I've always felt that the educators in this state are way overworked and way underpaid. Oklahoma is one of the states in this country that has the lowest teacher salary among about 3 or 4 states.
Well, and Mike Gundy is much more comfortable now being outspoken about these things. You know, he told us he's got a better relationship with Tylan Pickens. They had issues year after year. He's got a new contract. He says he's a Cowboy for life. He's committed to this community, and you see it in the educational world.
Thomas underneath. Lost the football, but I believe he's ruled down. Down at the 40-yard line. Approaching 3 minutes to play. Well, good on Mike Gundy. This community has really backed him. These are 2 of the better programs in college football. I don't think people who are a little bit more casually watching college football really understand how good these 2 programs are. Rypien lost the football, scooped up by Madison. Penalty marker came flying in from the offensive backfield. Jarrell Owens punched it away from
Holding,
Rypien.
number 78, offense, 10-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Rypien has the 1st down. Butler takes the shoulder from Green, but hangs on. 19 on the play. Incomplete, looking for Madison. Closing in on 2 minutes to play here in Stillwater. We'll take you from here down to Oxford, Mississippi. College football primetime. Number 1 Alabama squaring off with Ole Miss. 7:08 kickoff Eastern time on ESPN and the ESPN app. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe will be along shortly. Great quarterback matchup in that one. The Hawaiians, Jordan Ta'amu of Ole Miss and Tua Tagovailoa for Alabama.
Yeah, points will be scored, as we've had here today. And, you know, you think about Oklahoma State and what this win means. Let's not forget, they're in position now to have a tremendous September and a great October. They could be undefeated for a number of weeks.
Boise State and Oklahoma State, for the rest of their schedules, are an FPI, Football Power Index favorite in every single game between the 2, except for one. When Oklahoma State, in November, has to go on the road to Norman to play Oklahoma. That's the only game they're not favored in. Rypien, end zone, incomplete for Richardson.
I mean, it's hard to look at their schedule and not think that Oklahoma State will be undefeated when they get to November. Now, when they face Oklahoma, West Virginia, and TCU back to back to back, they should cruise through September and October, and they ought to go up in the rankings.
That's the hope in Stillwater, certainly. That's what everybody looked at when they saw the schedule. What a hit by Justin Phillips on C.T. Thomas. 3rd down.
The one thing that they've got to get a little bit better with, the Cowboys, the passing attack gave them some big plays, but it was not consistent today. They found a quarterback that can run a little bit, but he took a lot of punishment today, too. Not a great recipe.
Too tall for Shakir. Pressure by Bundage. Bye week for Boise State coming up. Then they'll open up Mountain West play in 2 weeks on the road at Wyoming. Meanwhile, next week it's Texas Tech coming into Stillwater. That's the other thing. Oklahoma State hasn't had to leave home. Why would you want to?
Yeah.
Great atmosphere here today in Stillwater. Bundage was offsides, but it'll be first down for Thomas. They'll just take that gain.
Don't be surprised if Boise State goes on a run. Remains undefeated the rest of the way.
Offside. Number 1, defense. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down. The play clock and game clock will start on my signal. Snap.
They have to go to Wyoming in 2 weeks. That's a tough game, but they get San Diego State at home, and they get Fresno State at home this year. All kinds of time for Rypien, who loses the football. Excellent coverage downfield by Oklahoma State. Devin Harper had the pressure on Rypien.
Well, the two things, you can't hold it that long. And then it didn't look like his arm was going forward. If his hand's going forward, then it's an incomplete pass.
But did he have possession of the ball when the ball was going forward?
Yeah, it looked like that ball came out before any forward movement of his hand. Watch, ball's out, and now the hand goes forward. That's a fumble.
Devin Harper all over him.
Yeah, he got hit an awful lot today, and this is just the latest hit. And again, it's the elbow that gets hit with the helmet before that ball comes out. 7 sacks. You kidding me? 7 sacks.
This was a 10-point lead at halftime for Oklahoma State. They outscored Boise State 27-14 in the second half. And Oklahoma State, in one of the 3 ranked matchups of the day in week 3 in college football, has a signature Stillwater victory over Boise State. First meeting between Oklahoma State and Boise State. Taylor, Cornelius, and the Cowboys are victorious. Let's go down to Quinn Kesnick.
Coach, what happened on the 2 block punts?
Well, we got, our special teams guys, MK and Cashmore, had a really nice plan, and we felt good about it. Players executed it. I think one of our punt block punts was a freshman, and the other one was 11, who's a sophomore. So they worked hard on it all week, and it worked for us. It was definitely the difference in the game.
How do you best describe the play of your quarterback, Taylor Cornelius, a.k.a. Corn Dog?
Yeah, Corn Dog showed up today, and was really proud of the way he handled himself. We took care of the football. Finally started rushing the ball a little better in the second half, but our defense played great. This is a really, really good offensive team, and I think we held them to less than about 50 yards rushing, and that was the difference in the game. Being able to stop their rushing attack and then the special teams.
Congratulations. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah,
Adam.
Q, Mike Gundy's team held Boise State to 31 rushing yards today. All part of a 44-21 Oklahoma State win. For Rod Gilmore and Quinn Kesnick, Adam Amin saying so long. Alabama and Ole Miss are coming up. But for now, Adnan Burke and the boys.